This is how it happened for me. I was trying to create chapters for one of our podcast shows. The tool we use to record with, it gives you some chapters, but it's very limited. So I searched YouTube like everybody else on, how do I get chapters, for a podcast transcript? And I found a guy's video and he basically walked you through how he does it. He had this prompt that he created for ChatGPT that spits out perfect chapters for your video. And I said, okay, well, let me check this out. And I opened up the prompt and I looked at it and I was like, oh my God, there was so much in this. It wasn't just a one line question. And that's when it hit me that, okay, this tool can do way more than respond to a one line question. But if you want it to come out a certain way, a certain format repeatedly, you have to be able to understand how to engineer the prompt, the question correctly. So the way you framed your prompt is going to depend on the response that you actually get and how efficient it is and how well it is and on point it is. So, and another thing, like at least in ChatGPT, you can enable memory. So what does that mean? That means the ability for ChatGPT to remember your conversations in the past so that everything you do in the future, it can always refer back to it so that it's not starting over from scratch again. Right. But these are settings that you have to set. I don't think that automatically comes turned on. Right. And then, you can create your saved prompts. So again, the way we question ChatGPT, the questions that we put in is called a prompt. So you probably need to understand that. You can save your prompts, for things that you have to do that are repetitive, right? So I probably have like 20 different prompts for different things that I need to get done because I took some time to really I remember one time I spent an hour and a half perfecting a prompt to get the outcome that I wanted it to be. But now, that investment of that hour and a half, and that's not for everything, right? So I don't want anybody to think that, oh man, I'm gonna have to put all this time in it. No, I was trying to get a very complex outcome. And in order for me to do that, it took me an hour and a half to finish the prompt. But now, every time I use the prompt, I'm done in like 2 minutes, where it used to
Sure,
take me like
Ralph,
2
can you
hours.
dig into that? Can you dig into that, man? Because honestly, that's something that I haven't, since you've been sharing that with me, and I've been trying to analyze, okay, what do I do on a daily basis that I can create a prompt for. Can you give us a use case, something that you can share around what you've done? And because I would love to hear a little bit more about that, because you're a little bit more advanced in that area than I am. So
Sure.
and I'm sure other folks are like, man, really? So yes,
Yeah, yeah,
let's
no.
dig into that.
Sure, sure, sure. So this is how it happened for me. I was trying to create chapters for one of our podcast shows, right? So the tool we use to record with, it gives you some chapters, but it's very limited. So I searched YouTube like everybody else, on, how do I get chapters, for a podcast transcript? And I found a guy's video and I'll link it in the show notes. And he basically walked you through how he does it. He basically goes to this one website, he puts in the URL of the video, and then it creates a transcript from that. And then you download the transcript, and then he had this prompt that he created for ChatGPT that spits out perfect chapters, right? For your video. And I said, okay, well, let me check this out. And I opened up the prompt and I looked at it and I was like, oh my God, there was so much in this. It wasn't just a one line question, right? He had a role, he had context, he had instructions, he had exactly how he wanted the output to look. And that's when it hit me that, okay, this tool can do way more than respond to a one line question. But if you want it to come out a certain way, a certain format repeatedly, you have to be able to understand how to engineer the prompt, the question correctly, right? So then I took it upon myself to go to LinkedIn Learning, and I decided to take a prompt engineering course, which we'll also link in the show notes for anybody who wants to take it. And when I did that, it changed forever how I will ever use Gen AI, because the power in Gen AI is your ability to ask it the right question, right? You can give it a one line question just like Google, right? And get a very generic answer. Or you can give it a detailed prompt and it can create something amazing, for you. Right. Um, so now, even for our episodes now, I use that same process, right? The show is done. I get the transcript. I use it in that prompt, and ChatGPT gives me perfect chapter numbers. And what does that do for us? That enhances you, the listener's ability to interact with this video. Maybe you don't want to listen to the whole video. We understand that. Maybe you just want to get to a certain place in the video. Now, because we have these detailed chapters, because I think the platform we were using, Terry, only gave us about 3 or 4 chapters. Now
Mhm.
I got 10, right? So we got 10 well-crafted chapters that you can click on and get to any point in the video that you want to make the experience better for you, right? I've gone as far as to create prompts to do things like analyze the transcript itself and tell me where the most engaging points are in the show so we can use those for our shorts videos, right? So
Mm.
it'll look through it and use its own intelligence to figure out these are the points that you want to go ahead and pull out, right? And make those in the shorts. And these are the reasons why you want to do it, right?
That's
So
awesome.
yeah, it's unlimited, right? The
Sure.
capability is unlimited, just depending on what it is that you want to do. So I think what you do is you first understand prompt engineering, right? So that's the difference between saying, write me a report on Q2 versus write me a one-page executive summary on Q2 performance, highlights, wins, challenges, next steps, in a confident but concise tone, right? You see the difference between those two? You give it a lot more
Yes.
context, right? You tell it exactly how you want it, the outcome to be, the output to be. It accelerates your ability to get things done. And then the greatest part about it is you can save it, right? Put it in a note somewhere. So the next time you need to do this, all you gotta do is just copy and paste and put it in, and bam, you get exactly what you want. You don't have to come up with this idea all over again. If that
So
does that
what
make
I'm
sense?
yeah, yeah, it does. It does. So Ralph, you know this, coming out of school many, many years ago for me, I came out of school a programmer, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so what I hear in that is this is what's amazing. And this is back in the days in COBOL, man. You had to have syntax. It was COBOL and Fortran. What else did I code in? C plus plus. I mean, just and the reason I'm bringing these terms up is because it was a special language. You guys get to actually create a program using natural language.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
That is amazing. Look, if I had a period or semicolon out of space, I didn't define a variable right, man, that program was bombing out. Took
Yeah.
hours to just find out, man, I missed a period.
Yes.
You got to be
Yes.
kidding me. But
Yes.
the fact that you can do this now with natural language,
Yes.
you can start your prompt off with good morning if you want to.
That's right. That's right. That's
And it would
right.
say, good morning. How's your day going?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Right. So the fact that you can use natural language to do that is just amazing. Um, man,
Yeah.
no, thank you for
I'll tell
sharing that.
I'll tell you another example, right? So here's something we recently launched with the podcast is if you go to our website, leadershipsolidly.com, and you sign up for our newsletter, right? If it's your first time going to the website, it'll pop up in the window and you can just enter your information. Or you can just scroll down to the bottom of the website and enter your email information. If you sign up there, we will send you a newsletter each week after we release a new episode, right? And that newsletter contains, all the pertinent information about the show. This is what we know. We know that most of you all who are consuming this content typically are doing it when you're in transit, right? You're in the road, you're on your way to work or your way home, you're working out, all of these different things. One of the things that, that really kind of struck me was because I listen to a lot of podcasts too, is that man, he mentioned a website, but I don't have time to write it down. I'm driving. right? Or he mentioned this book, or he mentioned this tool, or anything like that. And you
Correct.
always got to go back to the website, and to the podcast later to go try to extrapolate that information, right? So what we decided to do was create a newsletter each week. If you sign up for it, that's free. That actually summarizes all of that stuff for you, right? It gives you, a summary of the show, the key points, a link to where you can click on to get to the show if you need to go access it again later. It includes any book references. It includes any people references, any tool references with links that you can go ahead and click on just to really, make it a lot easier for you, right? Well, how am I doing that? I'm doing that with a prompt, right? I'm able to put the transcript in ChatGPT along with this custom prompt that I just created, right? Give it a few variables, right? This is the URL to the show website. I mean, to the show episode. This is the guest, right? This is their name, right? To make sure they all match up, and it'll go through that transcript and create a beautiful newsletter that all I have to do is just copy and paste and send it out to all of our subscribers, right?
That's
Which would
awesome.
take me probably
Oh,
2
yeah.
hours to write on my
Yes.
own, right? And I
So
get it done in
yes.
seconds. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
I'll tell you, right, here's what's happening, right, and I appreciate this. Our ability to engage you guys, a lot of it is, uh, driven by Gen AI, even the platform that we leverage, right? There are things inside the platform, sorry, that we are leveraging Gen AI to do, where when we first started doing this, we were like, "Bro, are we gonna be able to keep this up? This I man, look,
Yes, yes,
how we're gonna keep this up?" Well, we started embracing greater Gen AI, and the platform that we leverage start leveraging Gen AI, right? And it was
yes.
perfect timing for us. And
Mm.
our ability to keep this going, because we are limited manpower. So feel free to donate. That's you know,
And
that's
thank you.
feel free to donate because we have limited manpower. But with that limited manpower, we are leveraging the technologies and tools that are at our disposal so we can bring you this valuable content because,
That's right.
again, this was all driven by the fact that when we were coming up through the ranks, there was no one to really share this kind of information with us.
No, no,
And
no, nobody. And the blessing was Terry and I had each other. Right, because
that is
as
true.
we were
That
as
is
we were
true.
going through this stuff, we were talking to each other about it. And it's
Yes.
like, "Man,
Yes.
can you believe this? I can't believe I just had to
Yes.
go do this. Yeah, yeah, okay. We're
Yes.
going we got to figure this one out." And we just go from one topic to the other. But to Terry's point, we brought this show together just so we can give this information to you to save you time, right? So that you can use these leadership principles to level up on your career, right? To lead with power and authority, right? Which ultimately leads to promotion, which ultimately leads to more compensation, right? So that's
Exactly.
that's the whole reason why we're bringing this to you. But
And
not
Rafa, what you're doing, right? I'm so glad that you've taken that plunge because what's happening here is our ability to touch you at different modalities has increased, right? Now we can get to you on YouTube, right? But first we started off at just, it was Spotify
Apple.
Apple. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
iTunes, right?
yeah, yeah.
Well, with the advent of and our exposure to these AI tools, now we're able to do, there's a website out there, right? There's a newsletter and there's just better engagement with the podcast. And so what it's done to our earlier point is supercharged.
That's it. That's
It's
it. That's it.
supercharged leadership sovereignty. So
That's it. That's it. And just a quick plug, like, based on what Terry said, right? For those who don't know, there are a lot of podcast creators out there who that's all they do full time. Terry and I got full time jobs, right? I have a full time job. Terry is the CEO of a business, keeps him, constantly busy, right? We are able to produce this content only because of the use of these tools, right? To Terry's point, when we first started to do this and everything was manual, we questioned whether or not we could even continue to move forward, right? Because it was taking so much of a strain. Because remember, when we first started, we were posting shows twice a week.
yes. Oh my gosh. That was
It was a
burdensome.
grind. It was a
It was
grind.
a grind.
It
Yes.
was a grind. So, real case scenarios on how we're using AI. to enhance and supercharge what we do, right? So we're trying to give you some examples, right? You can fit that into whatever it is that you do, right? But it definitely, if you are interested in becoming a content creator, this is going to be your co-creator, so to speak. That piece that can help you create faster.
And
Um,
but here's the thing is though, Ralph, everybody's a content creator.
yeah, in their own right. Yeah.
Everybody is, right? In your own right. It just depends on what, everybody's got a report. Everybody,
Mhm.
and here's the other thing, right? Now, Ralph, we haven't gotten into this, but remember, we talk about those metrics, your number.
Yes,
This right here can supercharge
it sure
your
can.
numbers.
Oh man, you know what? So yeah, let's just dive into that for a second, right? Let's because we always talk about. Let's give an example that's not in a technical field.
Yep.
Um, you may let's just say you have to pack boxes for a living, and you have to pack boxes of peaches. Okay, so your job is just to come in there and pack your boxes of peaches. Your boss may say, "Hey, I need you to get X number of boxes done today." Okay. So you come in and you only focus on that one thing, packing those boxes of peaches for that day to hit that number, right? But what if you can take a tool that says, okay, this is what I do. I pack peaches in this box for this manufacturing company. Help me to track, the metrics to show exactly the value that I bring to the organization, and then help me understand how what I do exactly, helps this company to make money. It will start to explain to you that, okay, by packing this many boxes of peaches every day, you pack this many per week, which is this many per month, which means the organization can sell so many peaches, right? Which increases its profit by this. Now you understand from the dollar that the company made all the way back to what you do, exactly how important it is. Now you can start to ask it, okay, so I'm actually packing 5 boxes a day. What would happen if I pack 7 boxes a day? And it will tell you in real time you would increase the company's profit by this, right? Now imagine being able to go back to your boss and say, hey, I think I found a way to go from packing 5 boxes a day to 7. And it would increase the ROI on these peaches by 12%. They're going to look at you and say, "What?"
Right.
And think about this. I'm going to keep going back to this. Think about how that boss is going to look at you versus the person who's not doing it.
Right.
The one who just want to make 5 boxes in a day. I just want to put that weird pause there so you can think about that for a second. Because a pause can be really loud sometimes. We know that, don't we, T?
Yes. Yes.
Um,
Silence is powerful.
Silence is powerful, but now I want you to think about who on your job is using Gen AI to come up with these kind of metrics, and are you doing anything for yourself? Right? It's a very, very powerful tool, and the barrier to entry is zero. Anybody can start using these tools for free. You can go to Gemini, you can go to ChatGPT and sign up for a free account. But let's talk about some of the dangers that come along with using Gen AI, because we've talked about a lot of the benefits, right? A lot of benefits there. The first one is called hallucinations, right? So, hallucinations are confident answers, but they are false answers. So, what do I mean by that? Again, Gen AI is not intelligent in itself. All it does is try to predict what the next word should be in a response. This is why every response that it gives you, you have to read it. You cannot ask it to produce something for you and just blindly accept it as being accurate and being true, and then pass that off as your work. Gen AI goes through this condition called hallucinations from time to time. It doesn't do it every time, right? A lot of actually, in my experience, and Terry, you speak on this too. Most of the time, it's pretty accurate, but every now and then, it'll do a hallucination where the prediction of the next word was wrong, right? And what it says doesn't make any sense. So this is why it is mandatory. All right, please, 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 listeners, listen to this. When you ask Gen AI to create something, you have to review it and make sure it's accurate. And here's the thing about that. Let's say it's 98% accurate, it's only 2% off. Okay, you change the 2% and you're done. versus you having to figure out 100% of that on your own brain power, right?
Right.
But yeah, Terry, you want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, I think again, right? We've talked about it earlier. It is trust but verify, right?
Yes.
You do. So I'm listening to this guy. His name is Chris. I don't remember his last name, but it's a podcast I like to listen to. And honestly, he kind of changed my life with this statement. He said, "I don't believe what anyone says is true." Now, let me frame the context of that, right? And
Mhm.
so the context of that is this: we use words and we will believe that my understanding and definition of that word is the same meaning and definition that you have for the word. And so he gave an analogy. He said, I'm going to ask everybody in the room to draw a knife. And, we would think that, okay, everyone knows what a knife is, right?
Mhm.
He said,
Mhm.
well, based on where you are in your life or what you do, you're going to draw a different knife. He said, so someone with kids, they're probably going to draw like a butter knife, right? Because they're not going to have something that's danger in the house, right? Someone
Right.
who's a hunter, they're going to draw like a machete, right?
Yes.
Someone who is into fishing, they may draw like a Swiss Army knife.
Sure.
So, meaning that you have to ask the questions to get down to drive down to unify everyone on the same page, right?
Thank you for listening to the Leadership Sovereignty Podcast. If this content blessed or helped you in any kind of way, support us today by subscribing to our YouTube channel, clicking the like button for this episode, and sharing this content with others that you think it will help. Until next time, stay safe, peace, and blessings.